February 13th, Crime 101 hits theaters.
What is it that you do?
I take high-value items and make them disappear.
So you're a thief.
This guy's a ghost. There's no DNA. He's in and out in seconds.
Your guy's untraceable.
Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Barry Keoghan, and Halle Berry. One crime connects them all.
We're good at this.
Yeah.
Crime 101, directed by Bart Layton. Rated R, under 17 on admitted without parent. Only in theaters February 13th.
Before you set health goals for the year, you need to set a baseline. With LabCorp On Demand's suite of science-backed health tests, you'll get a more complete picture of your health. Whether you want insights about hormone health or nutrient levels, testing provides data that can help shape your wellness goals and track your progress over the course of the year. To get 15% off select tests, visit ondemand.labcorp.com/podcast. Use code PODCAST for 15% off. Go test yourself.
Well, the holidays have come and gone once again, but if you've forgotten to get that special someone in your life a gift, well, Mint Mobile is extending their holiday offer of half off unlimited wireless. So here's the idea. You get it now. You call it an early present for next year. What do you have to lose? Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Limited time 50% off regular price for new customers. Upfront payment required. $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan. Taxes and fees extra. Speeds may slow after 50 gigabytes per month when network is busy. See terms.
You can support this podcast at patreon.com/partnersincrimemedia.
I'm Rebecca Lavoie, and this is Crime Writers On. Crime Writers On is the original true crime review podcast that digs into true crime, pop culture, other podcasts. And on this episode, she offered herself as an expert in improving relationships. How did the children of an internet star wind up shackled in her basement? We'll talk about Evil Influencer, the Jodi Hildebrandt story from Netflix. Joining me to get that done and more is true crime author, TV journalist, and host of These Are Their Stories podcast, my husband and love of my life, Kevin Flynn. Hello, Kevin.
Hello, Rebecca.
Also with us, private investigator, certified pet detective, resident cat lady, and author of The Final Curtain, Laura Bricker. Hi, Laura.
Hey, Rebecca.
And finally, it's our captain of all things cynical, author of the City Trilogy, host of Rip Current, More Like Ancient Aliens, Strange Arrivals, and our Patreon Deep Dive Book Club podcast, Toby Ball. Hola, Nano.
Buenas, Rebecca.
So, Kevin?
Yes?
This is Monday's program.
It is.
What's coming up on Thursday's Crime Writers On?
On Thursday, we're going to talk about the podcast Hell in Heaven.
We got really soft there.
Yeah, well, it's... Why did we get so soft there?
I don't know.
It was like, on Thursday, we're going to the champagne room.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about Hell in Heaven, which, by the way, is episode 666.
Okay.
And I really thought when we...
Oh, really? Of our show?
Of our show,
nice.
Yeah.
Oh.
And we were like, hell, and I'm like, oh, wow, this is like another devil thing. And so episode 666 was perfect. We should have done The Devil You Know for that one, and this was Hell in Heaven. I kind of got the two confused. So.
I just figured out one impression you do.
What's that?
So your Patreon patron saint voice, which is like your deep, like broadcast sexy voice, do that one.
Our Patreon patron saints are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Plus your soft voice. Do you hear a little soft voice?
Our Patreon patron saints
The combination of those two is your strip club MC voice.
No, coming to the stage, Vanessa.
Give her a warm welcome.
Now, coming to the stage.
For your eyes only, gentlemen.
Destiny.
Oh.
Always some name.
It's always
That's
some.
not
it's
her
always some
God-given name, yeah.
It's always some like washed up broadcaster. This is what he does now.
Yes.
He does local commercial radio ads for like car dealerships.
Now, coming to the stage. For your eyes only, gentlemen. For your eyes only.
It's Laura Bricker.
I mean, at least I have a future ahead of me, you know?
Yeah.
There you go.
You do.
Yeah.
You do. I could see it.
There's so many possibilities.
I'm going to get you a set of those heels with like the bottoms that are like this tall, little chunky. I don't know why they wear those. It seems like a job hazard, but whatever. All right, Kevin.
Yeah.
Should we talk about the TV thing we are supposed to be talking about on this program?
Let's do it.
All right. Leading off.
He has duct taped around each ankle. Yeah, there's sores around them, I think.
He also said...
Oh, and he has them around his wrists as well. Okay, this boy has been...
When police discovered an emaciated boy covered in wounds and duct tape, they learned he and his sister were being kept in the basement of Jodi Hildebrandt. She had built an online following by promoting harsh approaches to marriage advice and rigid child-rearing strategies.
I love children. I love children. I love your children. And I have a very sacred charge to help you protect them. And Ruby, that's what she's doing. She's allowed me to be in her life so I can help raise and teach and guide her children.
The imprisoned children belong to Ruby Franke, who abandoned her well-known mommy vlog to collaborate with Hildebrandt on YouTube. As investigators dug into the case, they uncovered more about their methods, marked by domination, seclusion, and uncompromising demands for responsibility.
But a therapist leading someone to religiously believe that they need to torture their children, I think that's the more terrifying story.
The Netflix documentary Evil Influencer, the Jodi Hildebrandt Story, examines the notorious child abuse case through the lens of Franke's partner, accomplice, and enabler. It explores Hildebrandt's backstory, her controversial counseling techniques, as well as the ways she influenced the influencer and its horrific consequences. Spoiler alert, we're going to be talking about plot points from Evil Influencer, so if you want to remain spoiler-free, go to the estimated time code in our show notes for our thumbs up or thumbs down reviews. So, Laura, I actually have seen some criticism online about this documentary versus the other one that we watched, which focused on Franke, saying that this one didn't focus on Franke enough. In my mind, this was just a different angle on the same story. What do you think about that now that you've seen both of them?
Yeah, so I have some issues with the second half of this, but I liked the first half of this where the focus was more on Jodi and kind of watching her rise as this therapist in the Mormon community, kind of unraveling how she gained authority. The other one was more family-focused, character-driven about Ruby. And this one, that first half for me goes into how the manipulation occurs as opposed to being more character-driven around the mom who is at the heart of this. And I thought that was interesting. I thought it was interesting to watch that evolution through the lens of people that had been treated by Jodi, other therapists in the community. And I actually kind of liked the police detectives and their commentary as this was unfolding. So yes, it was a different focus. It was a short focus. But for me, I'm interested in the why and how people get caught up in following somebody like this. So to have that focus on her in the beginning, for me, I found kind of interesting.
What about you, Toby? Because we did watch another thing about essentially the same story, but not from a different side, but just focusing on the other, primary character in the story, the one who I would say probably got more publicity and media at the time. I mean, people are very sensitive about, not letting moms off the hook when they abuse their kids. But this documentary kind of makes the case that, as they should be. But this documentary kind of makes the case that, Ruby Franke was a bad mom before, but it was Jodi Hildebrandt who turned her into a mother who went into the illegal criminal child abuse strata. What do you think about the fact that we have these two contrasting looks at this case?
I didn't really need another look at this case, to be quite honest. The whole thing is pretty horrifying and upsetting. If you're going to do a second one about it, I guess you have to take a different tact. And I guess maybe this is a little more interesting than just following the family drama. But I do think there's enough sort of strange and kind of objectionable stuff that Jodi comes up with, even though I feel like it kind of comes from maybe the right place to start off with, and then how she was sort of enabled at first. But once I saw what it was, and then I remembered that we'd already seen something about it, I was like, oh God, it's going to be this stuff again, like this horrendous child abuse. And the interesting part is the dynamic between the adults who kind of bring it out. It is kind of, I guess, two sides of the same coin. So I didn't need another thing about this, but some of it was pretty interesting.
But here we are.
Yeah, Kevin told me I had to watch it, so I did.
You got the assignment, yeah. Yeah, I mean, as far as the question is, does it give Ruby a pass? I mean, not quite, because it does show her consequences, but because they're exploring Jodi's influence, it does sort of imply that Ruby isn't 100% responsible for her own actions, right? It almost implies that she was under Jodi's spell or something like that. So I mean, I think for that reason, it's easy to walk away that the filmmakers were letting Ruby off the hook. And I mean, the customer's always right when it comes to sort of the way that that's perceived. But I know that like historically on Crime Writers On, we don't try to compare like one media product against another on the same topic, like the book versus the movie versus the podcast and whatnot. We talk about what's better, but we don't like to give the podcast a thumb down because the movie was better or something. Like we like to judge the podcast or the other podcast based on what it is. And so I'll probably come to a conclusion on what that is. However, I just feel like The Devil in the Family was just covered this so much better because of the different things that they had, not the direction that it took necessarily by focusing on the Franke family. They had Kevin. They had Chad and Sherry, the children, the oldest children. So we got that context. And so even if they didn't have them, but we got a lot of that context on what was going on the Ruby Franke side, I think it would have informed this documentary more. Because, like, remember that interrogation of Kevin or that interview, and we see with the police footage and sort of like the way he is absorbing the information that his youngest son was found emaciated and even, he didn't even know what that term meant. And clip is going here. That whole scene takes on a completely different meaning when you already know what Kevin had gone through in the previous year. He's just not like, I haven't seen my kids in a year, which seems kind of bland and sort of insufficient to describe what the family situation is if you just saw Evil Influencer, when you know like all of the therapy shit and the like get out of the house and sleep on the floor and all these other things that went on. And the reason why he hasn't seen those children for a year because he thinks he's doing the right thing by the therapy that he needs to do. That whole scene has a completely different context, right?
That he was severely emaciated, that he
was emaciated,
skinny, scrawny, malnutrition, not enough food, not enough water to sustain life. So he had,
I'm sorry, what?
He had duct tape on his extremities.
With the warning of like trying not to compare apples to apples between the series and this documentary, it just feels like I'm just aware of so much that we are missing that would have informed what we're seeing in the documentary.
One of the things that I have said for a long time, and I hope listeners of faith take me at the spirit with which I intend this, is that we see a lot of documentaries that feature Mormon culture and the things that have sprung from it that are not great, sort of give, quote, mainstream Mormonism a pass. And I've always thought there is a great documentary to be made about mainstream Mormonism. At the end of this documentary, when that district attorney dude, I think that's what he was, right? The prosecutor is basically like, yeah, this is my faith too. I wanted to like scream. I really did, because he talked about this is coming from extremists. And I'm like, what about this is coming from extremists? Every person we saw following Jodi Hildebrandt would not consider themselves an extremist. Influencers from this community do not consider themselves extremists. They're basically trying to indoctrinate the rest of us into thinking that their lifestyle is ideal and needs to be aspired to. That is what Mormon influencer culture is all about. And we find out in this documentary that the reason Jodi is appealing to a lot of people, or was appealing to a lot of people, is because of Mormonism, because women feel disempowered, and that what her line of bullshit is selling is a way to take power back from men. And what it's selling men is, just because you're a human being with hormones, you're a filthy beast and need to be treated like you need to go to a 12-step program. Like, she's basically normalizing and inflating all these norms of Mormon culture and then twisting them to manipulate people and start a cult. So I just want to throw that out there, that there was one expert in this who said, like, this is a religious story. And that kind of, she said it and it kind of went by, but I'm like, no. We need to stay on that. Like, I really feel like we haven't yet seen the definitive white supremacist, trad wife, Mormon documentary that has led to all these things that people then later call extremism, when they're not acknowledging that the norm here is somewhat extremist. I want to throw that out there because to me that colors the whole thing. I mean, Laura, what did you think about what that therapist had to say, that people are going to this therapy because of the way they're told to live by their church of millions?
Right. And I think that's what's hard is that you have people here who they're earnest. They're like, we want to do what we're supposed to do. We want to follow the path that we're supposed to follow. And they had the blonde woman and she's talking about, something felt off in her gut about this. But she was like, well, this is what I've been told to do. So I'm struggling to follow this advice, but I want to be a good Mormon and I want to be a good wife and I want to do the right thing. Then you hear from the husband who looked at porn like once and he's like sent away for a year or whatever it was.
He's an addict, Laura. He looked at it once.
Don't you have to at least look at it twice?
Nope, just once.
Isn't that a pattern? If I did
just
heroin
once.
Laura, if I did heroin once.
Addict.
Well, that's different because heroin and fentanyl, it's like, boom, you're screwed if you do that. But if you did crack cocaine once, you might not be an addict. So,
Yeah.
No, so Rebecca, I'll just say and that woman, she's saying she was so desperate for help. I think that was one of the things she said. And it was like, you just feel like, where is this sort of rational example here that's guiding? Because, we can look in and be like, well, we disagree with this. This isn't how we would live. But they're trying to live according to their religion. And that, I think, sets them up to be vulnerable to exploitation by people like this because they really were seeking connection and validation, and they wanted to know they were doing the right thing. So that right there is like prime opportunity for somebody to come in and giving them that validation that they're so desperately looking for to better themselves. But then that leads down a slippery slope because you're not getting good advice here, obviously. You're getting very fucked up advice, but that need for that positive feedback that you're being you're a good Mormon wife and you're on the right path, I think really leads to trouble. So I agree. I would like to see it more. I was obsessed. I'm obsessed with the Mormon underwear, the Mormon culture. I watched that Sister Wives show. I'm like, how can I
ever watch Secret Wives and Mormon Lives? That shit is crazy.
I'm fascinated. I'm super fascinated. But in this respect, I think we're seeing something that is actually very sad because we're seeing the vulnerability of people in that situation and how that can be exploited.
It's a cult within a cult within a cult within a cult is how it feels to me. Because the messaging is you want to be good, you want to be right, and there are a lot of rewards to being a Mormon in a community like this. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but they all lived in giant fucking houses. And they were all living superficially very aspirational lives. And how many shots did we see them looking across that beautiful pond, that pretty barn? It's appealing in many, many ways. But the messaging around being a woman, the messaging around being a man, the messaging around sex, the messaging about being straight, the messaging about being white. Like when she was talking about, I felt like something was off in the bedroom. My first thing I thought was, well, maybe your husband's gay. Maybe that's what's going on here. But that is a thing that even if he is, he will probably never admit to himself or say out loud or whatever if he desires to stay in this church because that's not allowed. It's wild to me. Toby, what do you think? You watched porn once? Are you an addict? Yes or no?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
I've gone through the 12-step program. It was rough.
What do you think about the messages that Jodi says? Because on some level, she says some things that if I just when it came across it on the internet for 10 seconds, I'd be like, yeah, she's right. Like, we do get shitty messages about sex, right?
Yeah, I mean, I listened to you guys talk about it just now, sort of amplified my feel. It all felt a little opaque to me. Like they're all kind of talking about their feelings, but you have no idea like what brought it up. Like it's just, we're told this and it doesn't feel right this. And Ethan is just like, I don't know what I did. And
as he's trying to skip the rock.
And he, it's the most inept rocks. I'm like, dude, why did you put that in there? Was that like some kind of subtle symbolism about something? I don't know. I can't skip a rock.
He's not even good at this.
Yeah, I can't skip for 8 or 9 times just once and then it just sinks. I don't know.
Well, hello. Sounds like he needs that OMG yes thing that keeps popping up on my Facebook feed.
I have no fucking idea what you're talking about.
If he's sinking every time he makes an attempt.
But yeah, the whole thing, you kind of understand where people stand on it, but you don't actually know what they're talking about. At least I didn't. I wasn't sure because what Jodi... what her basic, remedy is that women don't need sex. It's just for men. And if men want sex, they're addicts and they watch porn and they're monsters.
I'm on board.
So it seems like there's probably some middle ground in there somewhere that would.
That look Kevin just gave me.
But again, it just, without much context, what you come away with is, at least in these particular examples, lessons that are being interpreted. I don't know if they're being interpreted differently, but, I think the examples they have of the men are just kind of bewildered about what's going on. And then the women are very angry about this messaging that they've been receiving about what their role's supposed to be. And I guess maybe if they'd gone a little bit more into that and made it a little more understandable, like that would have been helpful, because Jodi's reaction to it is so sort of absolutist. It's interesting that the church sort of supported her system, because it does involve just sending men away. And like, even if you're not getting officially divorced, you're breaking up the family. And it seems as though most of those people, or at least the examples that you're given, eventually end up getting divorced after that sort of enforced separation. So though, I don't know, like that whole thing, like I thought it was interesting, and I thought it gave some insight into Jodi and just how kind of going from writing a thesis paper to becoming this sort of absolutist guru for Mormon women. But I just never quite had a sense of what the areas of contention were, other than just like a vague idea that there's sort of retrograde ideas about what the gender role should be.
Toby, the thing that I got, I think, I don't know if they're trying to imply it, but it felt a little bit like the therapeutic philosophy here has a lot to do with self-loathing. Like Jodi's own experience with her failed marriage and sort of lashing out. It felt a little bit like maybe that's sort of the seed of that, and that sort of informed her worldview and therefore her therapeutic view. You know, sort of like hating yourself. You will not hate yourself if you join our Patreon.
Oh.
You will love yourself. You will love everything.
You won't be an addict.
You listen once and you will become an addict.
That's true.
I'm just warning you
now. You have to leave
now.
your family for a year, though.
You don't have to. You can look at if you're not sure about our Patreon, it's patreon.com/partnersincrimemedia. You hear us talk about it. You're like, well, what is all this content? What can I hear? Look, you can get free samples of all the content.
Ooh.
You can listen to a clip. It's usually like the first 3 minutes. You can listen to it for free to sample. You can also try the whole thing for free for 7 days. No cost. Just you want a refund after that,
Listen
you get
to
money back.
1,000 episodes.
Listen to
in
1,000
7 days.
episodes. Jam them all in. And that's how you know you're an addict.
Yes.
But you get exclusive content, including the Crime Writers on After Show. On this After Show, Rebecca and I are going to let everybody know a little bit about our recent romantic getaway.
So romantic.
And
Aww.
yeah, and it's like, well, you know, ways that
Jodi would have hated the shit we did in St. Martin, man.
She would have hated it. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Other exclusive content include Toby Ball's Deep Dive Book Club podcast. Next month, Toby's new season begins with the book, The Lumumba Plot. Toby, who's going to be on your panel?
We're going to have Alex Segura and Livy Burdett.
Fantastic.
Livy Burdett. Who's that?
Power trio. By the way, if you look at the book and it seems a little intimidating or whatever, it's actually awesome. I am in the midst of reading it. It is super, super interesting. You always read these little blurbs that say, it's a history book that reads like a thriller. But in this case, it actually kind of does. Really enjoying it. It's kind of a page turner. So check it out.
Speaking of intimidating but also awesome, it's Rebecca Lavoie's Something's Off with Mel Barrett, where they talk about all things in the Karen Reed Extended Cinematic Universe.
And other things.
And other things.
Lots
branching
of other
out.
crime stuff.
We have Married with Podcast, where we give you all sorts of advice. And then Laura Bricker has her Leave It to Bricker podcast. And Laura talks about, Laura is like,
she's doing yoga
what
as
has
we're
been
taking
going
this.
on? I'll just tell you, people can't see this.
She's legit
but
doing
for
yoga.
the past 5 minutes, you've been doing windmills with your arms and stuff.
Yoga stretches.
Yeah, what's been going on?
What's been going on? I've been like working at my desk all day with no movement break, and all of a sudden my shoulders were like, fuck you, lady. So I was doing some stretches during this business section.
Okay,
Very
well,
exciting.
yes, well, our fantastic line editor, Livy Burdett, probably folks just spent a whole bunch of time removing all the bone cracking noises that was coming. You missed that. You've been spared from that. Laura, tell us about glue wine real briefly. What the fuck is glue wine?
Well, I'm going undercover, not really undercover. I'm investigating in the local wine world to find out a winter treat called glue wine that I can use on the back end when my shoulders are hurting after all of the outdoor winter activities that I've been doing.
You put glue wine on your back end?
I guess I could. I don't know. I mean, only in St. Martin, but we'll wait to hear about that.
Yes.
If you join us at the Let's Do What We Do level, you'll get episodes of Crime Writers on early and ad-free. And if you're a deep diver, you get to be an official sponsor of Toby Ball's Deep Dive Book Club podcast. Toby, not that long ago, you guys covered the book Eden Undone. And on my flight on the way back, I was watching Eden.
I saw that too.
Which is the movie adaptation.
Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ.
I still have like 40 minutes to go. We landed. I had to watch Fantastic Four before this, so I didn't have enough. What?
That is not a movie you want to be sitting next to somebody while they're watching it on the plane and just watching it with no audio. That was the most fucked up looking shit I have ever seen in my life.
It's a fucked up book. Yeah. Or the movie was weird anyway. So
we'll talk about it later this week.
Yeah. Okay.
It does relate to our podcast on Thursday.
Okay, excellent. So again, that's patreon.com/partners in crime media. It's a great way of supporting the show.
All right, Kevin, does thus end our business section?
Thus ends the business section.
Let's go ahead and
Ladies.
take that music out right now. Now, coming to the stage.
It's the
Kevin.
business section.
Hey, everybody. It's Rob Lowe here. If you haven't heard, I have a podcast that's called Literally with Rob Lowe. And basically, it's conversations I've had that really make you feel like you're pulling up a chair at an intimate dinner between myself and people that I admire, like Aaron Sorkin or Tiffany Haddish, Demi Moore, Chris Pratt, Michael J. Fox. There are new episodes out every Thursday. So subscribe, please, and listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Kevin, who's our next sponsor?
Oh, well, we are beginning the year with our friends from Quince.
Our friends indeed.
Yeah. Are you starting the year needing a wardrobe refresh? Maybe you got too many robes for Christmas and not enough
All
great
the moms
sweaters.
with their robes.
Yeah. Look, you got to be layering. You got to be mixing. You got to be building a wardrobe that lasts. And with Quince, their versatile styles make it easy to reach for them day after day.
I just bought from Quince basically my new favorite sweater.
Yeah.
It's a Mongolian cashmere kind of boxy cropped cardigan.
Mm-hmm.
It is this beautiful color, heather truffle brown. It goes with neutrals. It goes with black. It goes with jeans. It goes with skirts. I love this sweater so much. You are going to be seeing a ton of it this winter.
Yeah, that works because Quince also has these beautiful 100% silk tops and skirts to easily, like I don't want to say mix and match.
Oh, you
but
can mix and match.
Okay.
You can say that.
Yeah.
Refresh your wardrobe with Quince. Don't wait. Go to quince.com/crime for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too.
Bonjour, hi.
That's QUINCE.com/crime to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/crime.
Well, the holidays have come and gone once again, but if you've forgotten to get that special someone in your life a gift, well, Mint Mobile is extending their holiday offer of half off unlimited wireless. So here's the idea. You get it now, you call it an early present for next year. What do you have to lose? Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Limited time 50% off regular price for new customers. Upfront payment required. $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan. Taxes and fees extra. Speeds may slow after 50 gigabytes per month when network is busy. See terms.
So, Laura, there was a law enforcement perspective here. We got to do a little ride along with the cop who actually arrived on the scene after the police were called, when the son went to the neighbor's house, which, by the way, God love those people, man. You know, those people, you think about like all the times people have come on our Ring camera and I've been like, no, don't go there. Don't go out. Go out and talk to that person.
How many times do you think that doorbell's ever been rung?
I don't know.
They're in the middle of the desert.
Side question. How is Jodi Hildebrandt doing so much water sports in the middle of the fucking desert? Anyone else wonder that besides me? She's like, come jet skiing with us. I'm like, where?
Lake Havasu, I think.
Someplace else.
Oh, okay. Still, it just seemed a little out of place with me. Living in the middle of the goddamn desert. It's 100 degrees in there jet skiing. Anyway, so
Salt Lake.
Yeah. So, Laura, what did you think about the fact that there was so much police perspective in this version of the story?
A few of us were a little skeptical on how valid this report was at first. Santa Clara Islands is a very affluent area, large homes situated on large lots. Are they kids like playing tag and one is left with duct tape? Like, you just don't know.
So I've said this in a couple of recent things we've reviewed. I like it when we get to watch things through body-worn camera footage from the police as it's unfolding. I think it gives a really different perspective than like later going back and recounting what happened, kind of seeing things as it unfolds.
Jodi, I need you to step out.
I have my turn.
That's great. Step out of the house.
No, I'm not going to step out of the
Step
house.
out of the house. Step out of the house.
Whoa.
We're just going to see if anybody else. Is there anybody else home?
Wait a minute, how do you come to my house?
Right there.
They're going into my house.
I really liked the part about how, there was that one person who was responding and Jodi was out coming the other way. And like he knew who she was. He knew what was going on and like played it kind of dumb when she stopped and was like, yeah, I'll let you know if I like see the kid. But I also really liked the perspective of the woman detective. She was very low key and straightforward in a way that she was obviously shaken by this. Who wouldn't be? But she told kind of how this unfolded from her and how she learned different details. And then we then had the guy, was it the DA or the prosecutor guy?
Mm-hmm.
He was kind of interesting. At one point, I kind of was like, I'm not sure where this is going, because he was talking about how, like, Ruby, like, she was kind of like fringy parenting. It wasn't great parenting. It was just kind of fringy. And I'm like, oh, this might be a little tone deaf. But then he qualifies it and he says, and then, it goes from poor parenting with her, like, having the kids carrying boxes to torturing children and corporal punishment. I'm like, okay.
It's not illegal to take away your 16-year-old son's bed. Maybe it should be, but it's not.
Have a beanbag.
Here, sleep on this dog bed.
Yeah, sleeping on the dog bed. But I don't know. I like when we see more through these body-worn camera videos. We had the one, the Gabby Petito case, where we saw a lot through that. We had that one case in Florida about the neighbor where we saw like almost the entire story unfold that way. Those things are rolling for hours. Like I've had to watch hours of those for like my work stuff, and they can be very boring. But taking the parts that are relevant and interesting and help advance the story, I think is a really effective way to use a type of footage that we didn't used to previously have access to for these sort of documentaries.
Yeah. Toby, what do you make about Ruby's behavior when she's arrested? Because she kind of wanders into the scene. First of all, isn't it weird that cop just typed in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6?
I know.
That was actually
I know.
It's
like, didn't take it off the default.
That's like some shit that I would do. Like 1, 2, 3 pound.
6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6.
Just like the children, right?
Yeah, right.
But what do you make of her behavior? Because this is obviously a mental health story, too, this entire thing. Ruby clearly has some issues, and they clearly are exacerbated by being this other woman who also has some issues. What do we hear about in the next podcast when reviewing Folie à Deux?
Folie à Deux.
Yeah. But what do you make of the fact that she is just so, I don't know. What do you think of that scene when we see her being arrested and we see her at the police station, we see her in all these settings, they're just trying to talk to her. And by, all accounts, they seem to be reasonable cops just being like, we're just trying to find out what's going on, and she just will not react in any way.
Yeah, I mean, her only communication is she and Jodi singing hymns in the back of the police cruiser when they're going to the police headquarters, I guess. Was I
seems cool?
Was I hallucinating that detail? Well, as you said, it's clearly a mental health thing. It did seem like the kind of sort of I answer to a higher power, so I'm not going to talk to you kind of thing, because she doesn't seem like particularly distressed about anything. I mean, I'm sure she must be feeling some stress, but she's just very flat affected. And I would imagine that Jodi said if the cops ever come to us, just don't speak to them. You need to get a lawyer, because that's the only time she pipes up is when I think they inform her that she can get a lawyer or something. And she's like, I want my lawyer. And then that's the extent of it. In a documentary where I was sometimes looking for stuff to be kind of intrigued by, like she kind of traipses in and doesn't seem too concerned about what's going on and just sits herself down. And it looks like she could just be like, there's a power outage, so she's waiting for the TV to come back on or something. I mean, it's
this
really
10,000 square foot house.
It's super casual.
When the cop with Ruby was like, you could tell that he was like frustrated, because he's like, I need to know if you need a doctor, like you need to answer me. Are you having a medical crisis or mental health crisis?
Do you understand that or no? Are you okay? I'm wondering if there's like a medical clearance that needs to, like, do you need medical attention before you go to the jail? Okay.
Are you hearing the words coming out of my mouth?
Right.
But again, I mean, I think she's, in her mind, she's answering to a higher authority. And it's just like, I don't need to talk to you.
She also thought her children were like satanic. I mean, this is not normal.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, she's when you said folie à deux, which I kind of feel like if everything that we watched that sort of hints at folie à deux was in fact correct at hinting at it, then like folie à deux is like rampant in our population because it seems to come up a lot.
you can never put two people with issues together, Toby, because you never know what will happen.
So, but anyway, I mean, it doesn't seem quite that. I mean, this seemed like much more sort of manipulator and a person who was primed to be manipulated, but, you know, fine distinctions.
Yeah, I think the most dangerous kind of person, and Kevin, I'd love your take on this,
Mm-hmm.
is the kind of person who can be actually espousing wild things, abusive things, crazy things, but then when spoken to by the police or by anybody who's meeting for the first time, seems super normal. Because Jodi's almost like, I know Ruby seems, but listen, I'm just trying to, I haven't opened that safe for years. I don't. The cops, I clearly had a sense that there was something off before because they knew because the neighbors had told her.
Right.
But she was good, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's like one of the reasons why these people are so good at what they do as far as convincing people online is that they're confident, right? They have confidence in the thing that they're doing, even if they're shoveling bullshit, right? So you'd see her in like her own interrogation, like, yeah, you know, I've been on your side of the table. I get it. You know, I'm sure you're nice people. You know, I'm sure you're fine.
Wild.
Yeah. You know, and that's why you can totally look into a camera and then just say whatever you need to say regarding other people's lives and how they, you know, need to.
It's just like Married with Podcast, right?
It's just like Married with Podcast at patreon.com/part. No, I'm sorry.
No, Kevin. But one of the things that I'm curious about what you think, Kevin, is why won't anybody just come out and say like that Jodi was gay and that she and Ruby were having sex? Like,
is she a lesbian?
Yes.
The world will never know. Someone threw it out there and then just let it drop.
Always.
Yeah, again, it's sort of like, it's not because it's salacious.
There's nothing wrong with being gay. It's fine.
No, but again, if you have, it's all about context, right? If there is also a sexual relationship here, especially given the cultural constraints around that kind of thing, then it provides additional context as to why the two of them did what they did, or at least how one could influence the other or whatever, to sort of keep it as sort of, no, it was professional and platonic and they have this other kind of relationship going on. It says something different. However, I think probably why this documentary suffers is that there's a lot of context that it could provide that other stories do, and then therefore you don't walk away with any of the depth of the actual story. There was a whole incident, right, where they just said, yeah, they locked themselves in the room for 5 hours and then came out and were great or whatever.
They were joyous.
They were joyous.
I wonder why.
It's right. But I remember, don't you
it's
remember?
It's called an orgasm.
Well, like in the Hulu series, it was like, oh, she had all sorts of sex toys. And, you know, it's like, fine. You know, a lot of people do. But that ends up being important context, especially when you're talking about somebody who's berating people for having sexual addictions, or you know, you're trying to explain how did this woman so influence another woman to essentially give up her children and allow them to be shackled and tied down to the point where the children had open wounds that need to be treated with saran wrap and duct tape and honey and cayenne pepper.
That did not need to happen.
Did not need to happen. But again, I think the deeper context is why the story is interesting. It's not just a police blotter thing about, here's a child abuse case that happened downtown. There's so much more going on that makes it kind of a think piece, something that, again, crosses over, you know, territory that we've covered before on influencers and social media, as well as cults and coercive control and things like that. There's a Venn diagram here on all those sorts of things, and we see that in other properties, but we don't see it in this one.
Finding the music you love shouldn't be hard. That's why Pandora makes it easy to explore all your favorites and discover new artists and genres you'll love. Enjoy a personalized listening experience simply by selecting any song or album, and we'll make a station crafted just for you. Best of all, you can listen for free. Download Pandora on the Apple App Store or Google Play and start hearing the soundtrack to your life.
Well, the holidays have come and gone once again, but if you've forgotten to get that special someone in your life a gift, well, Mint Mobile is extending their holiday offer of half off unlimited wireless. So here's the idea. You get it now, you call it an early present for next year. What do you have to lose? Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Limited time 50% off regular price for new customers. Upfront payment required. $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan. Taxes and fees extra. Speeds may slow after 50 gigabytes per month when network is busy. See terms.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. One thing I've learned is that you buy a house, but you make it a home. And for decades, Angie's helped millions of homeowners hire skilled pros for the projects that matter. Get all your jobs done well at Angie.com.
Close your eyes. Focus. Listen to work getting done with Monday.com. Relax as AI does the manual work, while your teams are aligned on a single source of truth. Feel the sensation of an AI work platform, so flexible and intuitive, it feels like it was built just for you. Notice you're limitless. Now open your eyes, go to Monday.com, start for free, and finally, breathe.
All right, let's do what we do. Let's let our listeners know, should they check out Evil Influencer, the Jodi Hildebrandt story on Netflix. Laura Bricker, thumbs up or thumbs down for this documentary?
I'm going to go mild thumbs up, maybe leaning more towards thumbs sideways, but a mild thumbs up. Because it's like, do we need another documentary about this case? We've heard so much about this case. We watched another documentary. I think if you are somebody that likes kind of learning more the why behind this, with like the psychological background of somebody that can go in as a person in a position of authority and manipulate people in almost this cult-like way to commit these horrible abuses on children. Nobody wants to watch abuses on children. That's horrible. But if you are curious about the background of somebody that is able to manipulate that system in a shorter documentary than the other documentary about this case, it's packaged shorter. The first half of this was very interesting, kind of showing how manipulation can happen. The other one was more character-driven. Two things in this that are light that I'd like to point out. There's a really awesome cat with like really cool ears, like maybe one of those Scottish cats.
It's a Scottish fold, yeah.
Yep. And also the best named prison I have ever seen, the Purgatory Correctional Facility.
Yeah. I'm in Purgatory.
So they're in Purgatory. I think based on that, I'm going to go
There's a call
mild.
coming in from you from
Purgatory. So mild thumbs up on that for me.
Toby Ball, thumbs up or thumbs down for Evil Influencers?
Yeah, I think I'm a thumb sideways. This is kind of meh for me. It's mildly interesting to find out about, I guess, Jodi's kind of journey from writing a thesis paper in college about the messages that women get from the church or culture, Mormon culture, from something. I don't think they were very definitive about that, to becoming this sort of cult leader that she becomes. I mean, she becomes a therapist, and then her ideas become more and more extreme to the point where it becomes kind of cult-like. I like Laura said, I don't know if I really felt like I needed to know more about this case than I already did. The details are horrifying, and I don't know if it's interesting enough to sustain all this attention. I'm a little bit surprised that somebody like Skye Borgman, in a world full of things they could have done a documentary about, why you would choose this one, which seems to have been covered pretty much without having something really, really major to say about it. That being said, it's put together fine, and it's easy to follow. If you don't know anything about the case, maybe it's worthwhile. It's hard to downgrade something because something else was made before. But I think in this case, there's been enough time has passed that she made the decision to make something else about it. Anyway, it's not terrible, but I didn't feel like I learned a whole lot new. Didn't give me much different to think about. And so I'm kind of a thumb sideways.
Kevin Flynn.
Yeah, I'm going to go sideways on this. It's like if someone said, let's do a documentary about the Art Garfunkel of a horrible child abuse case. Okay, fine, it's a different way of looking at it, but it felt very thin. It's sort of okay to look at the accomplice when there's a more interesting character, a more compelling villain, someone with a much more interesting backstory. It would be really good to find out a little more about Jodi and how she was able to insinuate herself into Ruby Franke's orbit and all those things. But it just felt like in this documentary, we don't get to hear from the right voices. We don't really get to hear from people that knew Jodi well enough to really be illuminating. And there was just so much context that was left out that we did see in other things. I sort of hate comparing apples to apples when it comes to different media about the same crime, points for trying to find a different way of telling the story, but that way of telling the story did not have as much good detail, interesting characters, plot twists, the depth that really made this crime a chin scratcher. It's not poorly done, but I don't think really if you want to know more about this case that you're really going to learn more about this case from Evil Influencer. How did the influencer influence the influencer? I don't really know if we got that answer.
I am a thumb sideways as well. It's fine. I didn't think some of the takes about Jodi were interesting. It could have gone a little deeper. I continue to be troubled by, talk about a pass. People are critical of this because it gives Ruby a pass. I feel like men are given a huge pass in these stories. I really do. I mean, we know that because in the stories we've watched before, we know that Ruby's husband was, asked to leave or whatever, but he was living there when the kid's bedroom was taken away from him. He was living there when all this extreme, insane abuse stuff started happening. And it's always just like, really, I mean, even in this, we have, the two people who both went to Jodi. We have a man, we have a woman. The man is shown in a very soft way, arranging stuffed animals around the home. And the woman is just standing by a stark lake the entire time and sitting by herself in front of a quilt. And I know that stuff is sort of like probably not intentional, probably subconscious, but I just find myself watching this and being like, this is a system issue. It's not so much there is one very evil person clearly at the middle of this documentary issue, but like, this is a really systemic issue. It's a systemic issue with this faith, with other faiths that we focused on that have stories that, have sort of a similar culty sort of lean. And I guess I sort of continue to be troubled by the angelic light with which all the men in these stories are painted. Anyway, that being said, it was fine. I do like a good drone shot over a top of a Mormon temple. I do like looking at
extreme Dutch angles.
Dude, that extreme Dutch angles. They went to the upside down a couple times with the neighborhood. The neighborhood was very paradise looking. Like it looked very much like that show Paradise. They filmed it. They were supposed to be inside of a mountain. Anyway, yeah, thumb sideways for me. I guess I don't have a ton to say about it. So thumb sideways for me for Evil Influencer. Now it's time for my favorite part of the podcast, a little something I like to call
the crime of the week.
That's the crime of the week. A guy from Albany, New York is on the run after getting a little help from man's best friend. Police say Lamont Holmes was able to slip his leash after he affixed his ankle monitor to a dog. The county probation department notified a judge that Holmes will likely not be at his sentencing hearing later this week. That's because they haven't been able to find him. They said a woman 15 miles away spotted a loose dog and something big attached to his collar. Authorities believe Holmes cut off the ankle monitor and let the pooch loose to make it look like he was going about his business. It's not clear if the dog belongs to the suspect or whether he took part under duress. Holmes was already facing up to 15 years in prison on a weapons conviction. The dog will not face any charges. Panel, it should have been obvious to anyone tracking the ankle monitor that something was up. But how could they have known it was being worn by a dog? Laura Bricker, what do you think?
Well, if they looked at the map and saw that it was stopping at all of the, I'm having a brain cramp.
Fire hydrants.
If they looked at the map, that's what I was trying to
Bricker.
say. Oh, no, was that your answer too? I was going to say if they looked at the map and saw that the dog was stopping at all the fire hydrants along the way.
What do you think, Toby Ball? How should the cops have known this ankle monitor was being worn by a dog?
Because if they looked at the map of where that thing was going, they would see that it stopped at all the different fire hydrants.
What do you think, Kevin? How would the cops have known it was being worn by a dog?
Because whenever there are squirrels, he would stop at the fire hydrants.
Oh, okay. I was just thinking.
I was going to say he'd stop to lick himself a lot, but I have to jump on the fire hydrants now.
If I was looking at the map, I would see that ankle monitor sniffing a lot of butts.
Yeah.
And stopping at a lot of fire hydrants. All right, Laura Bricker, folks want to reach out to you online and say hi. How can they find you there?
You can find me at Laura Bricker on Blue Sky and Instagram. And if you go on Instagram, you can see some of my winter adventures where I'm trying to become a woman of winter.
And now she has to stretch nonstop.
Exactly.
Yoga poses during the podcast. What about you, Toby? How can you be found online?
I'm at Toby Ball NH on Blue Sky, Toby Ball 603 on Instagram, where I'm suddenly putting out content.
No, I saw that you're reposting some stuff. Good for you. Kevin Flynn, what about you?
I guess that's putting out content in my world.
That is putting out content.
I'm at Kevin P. Flynn.
You can find
and
me.
And the P stands for posting.
Oh, you can find me everywhere at Reb Lavoie. Follow the show everywhere at Crime Writers On. That includes YouTube, that includes Instagram, but mostly you should join our Facebook group. It's awesome. It's called the Crime Writers On official Facebook discussion group. Go to Facebook, find our page, get the link to join the group. You can find me everywhere, by the way, at Reb Lavoie. Get everything we make at Patreon at patreon.com/Partners in Crime Media. Our theme song was composed and performed by Ty Gibbons, and our editor is the terrific book club participant, Livy Burdett. The EP of this show is Kevin. This show was recorded in the Caitlin Rogers Project Studio, also known as Studio C, the closet in our New Hampshire basement, where the passcode to get in is, by the way, Kevin, is 123456.
Yeah,
Pound.
exactly.
Pound. On behalf of all the crime writers, thanks so much for listening. We will catch you
Later. Crime of the week.
Up next, the crime of the week.
Coming to the stage now. The crime of the week.
Who's a bad boy? I had apple juice once. You know what that makes me? Apple juice addict. To be fair, though, I actually kind of am an apple juice addict. I'm drinking it right now, as a matter of fact. Anyway.
Partners in Crime Media.
Hey there, it's Katie Nolan, host of Casuals, the sports podcast where we don't care how much you know about sports, we're just happy that you're here. Every week, I hang out with some of my good friends to discuss the biggest stories across sports and entertainment, but in a way that's like fun and not boring. Want to know Sue Bird's favorite Diana Taurasi story? Or how heavy the Larry O'Brien trophy is? Or even what baseball team is right for you based on your moon sign? We got you. Listen to Casuals every Tuesday and Thursday on the SiriusXM app or wherever you get your podcasts. Bye!
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. When you use Angie for your home projects, you know all your jobs will be done well. Roof repair? Done well. Kitchen sink install? Done well. Deck upgrades? Done well. Electrical upgrade? Done well. Angie's been connecting homeowners with skilled pros for nearly 30 years, so we know the difference between done and done well. Hire high-quality pros at Angie.com.